to.
This forest is infested with non-native plants. Most of Cincinnati parks are infested with non-native plants, unfortunately, and so we have a great burden to bear now to repair this forest. For me, working with the volunteers at French Park has been a really beneficial opportunity to demonstrate our best practices in land management. And that's what we're seeing here, the results of our practices in motion, in partnership with the community members who care about this park. The fun things about life, the outdoor activities, the healthiness that you get just by being outdoors. You have to have good habitat, good parks, and a good state of health in order to have that. So building up the benefit of the forest, the health of the forest, benefits the citizens themselves, the city itself.
I've been serving with Friends of French Park for about 2 years, and before that I had signed up to volunteer in Cincinnati Parks, but I just never had the opportunity. One day, an email came from Crystal, the volunteer person with Cincy Parks, and I saw that they were developing or had formed this group for French Park, and I immediately signed up. I came to like the first event that I could on a weeknight, and I was totally in. Over time, I've started leading some groups and working on my own and doing more in the park. And then as Eric and Philip were both stepping down, they asked like who would be interested. And it was all of us core members of French Park were there, and everybody just looked at me. And so I'm happy to serve in this role and just put my own little spin on keeping the progress moving from what Eric and Philip have done in the past as serving now as the president of Friends of French Park.
I've always loved nature ever since I was a little kid. Lived near a park. I was lucky enough to growing up, and I spent like every day there in the summer catching minnows and crawdads and snakes and stuff, and that love for being outside always just stayed with me. Eventually turned into getting rid of honeysuckle. I learned about that problem. I mean, we always had honeysuckle in our yard growing up, and I was like, oh hey, this wonderful plant. But I learned more about it as I got older, and eventually Cincinnati Parks invited previous volunteers who lived within a certain radius of the park to come to a meeting about trying to recruit a CPAC, which is the Cincinnati Parks Advisory Council. Greg and Drew asked me to lead the initiative and get the CPAC rolling, and it just kind of built itself from there.
There's a lot of ways, I think, to measure success in an area like French Park. Just having the CPAC come together with a conservation focus and get to work according to a plan in coordination with our land management team, I think that's a huge success, like right off the bat. Because we're on the same page with the volunteers, our efforts are coordinated, we're working in sync with each other. So it's not one group really hoping to have a good impact on an island on their own, and then our own team with our own limitations. Another big one with this group is that they've been able to accomplish a lot. You know, they've removed a ton of honeysuckle, they've done other work too. A big success with them is that we've been able to return to that same footprint and deal with the other problems, because there's many complex issues going on in the woods. There's a lot of different plants that we're trying to manage. And if we don't have the ability to, year after year, come back and see how things are going, intervene when we need to intervene, then we're really not doing the type of work that needs to be done. And this group has been so committed and grown and sought education from us and educated us to be able to learn what needs to happen in those areas, that it's just been year after year we've been able to have more and more success and push further and further into the problem areas of the forest, but with the knowledge that we're doing it the right way and we're not getting ahead of ourselves, which is huge.